So we're going to start with the book from Rabbi Avraham Aryeh Trugman. It's called 70 Faces. And I didn't do a video yesterday because it was a fast day, Tisha B'Av. Sorry, Shiva Asar B'Tammuz. And we start 3 weeks of the destruction of the temple. And I've been thinking yesterday of the mourning for the life that I never had or that I always wanted. Everybody can find a way to connect. So let's get started. So first I want to say that he attributes almost every page of his book to Rav Yitzchak ginsburg, a kabbalist, a numerologist, a scientist, a very, very prolific teacher, both online and in his writings, and he's a mathematician, if I didn't mention that. And he teaches psychology. He has an institute in Israel, and he's just very well known. So Rabbi Avraham Aryeh Trugman says this is his master, his teacher, his rebbe. So the word tam, T-A-M, in 35 equals 35, and where each in the Misper Siduri. Misper Siduri is where each letter's numerical value is in the list of 1 to 22 ordinal value chart. So you would say like tam is like the 22nd letter, and mem is like the 13th letter, I guess. So oh yeah, I wrote that. And this is the same value as Yehudi, which is Jew. Hod, the root of Yehudi as a sphere, kabbalistically, the inner dimension is Tamimut, or sincerity. Tzaddik, the 18th letter, is Chai, 108. 10 and 8, which is life. The Arizal, Rabbi Isaac Luria, the Kabbalist authority, calls this letter Tzaddik, which means righteous person who not only emanates life, but gives life to those around, all those around him or her. According to the Masoretic tradition, the word Leosios, the for signs, the word for signs appears only 2 times. Spelled above, Leosios, is in bereishis 1:14. Let there be luminaries in the expanse of the heavens to separate between day and night, and there shall be signs for appointed seasons and for days and years. And when it's spelled Leosos with the vav, behold, I and the children whom God gave me for signs and for tokens in Israel from the God of hosts who dwell in Har Zion. On Har Zion is yeshayahu, Isaiah, in 8:18. The Baal haturim is also known as like the master of the crowns, but really it's because on the letters there's turim, there's the how many sticks they have on their crowns. But basically his interpreter says Isaiah, yeshayahu, calls his students his children and comparing to those who learn Torah to the heavenly luminaries, which are signs and wonders, and adds that the sages say Moshe's face was like the sun and Yehoshua's face was like the moon. It's interesting to say that the luminaries are the signs, are the Torah scholars. Okay, Bob Dylan actually had a song that sometimes Satan comes as a man of peace, and something to note, an important message. I definitely find it to be very pertinent. Okay, the 5 worlds correspond to the 5 levels of the soul, as learned from the ancient Midrash Bereshis Rabbah 14:9. You have nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, and yichida. So the tip of the yud, so the letter of God's name is yud and hey and vav and hey, and there's 5 worlds. So what's the tip of the yud, the first letter, is actually the first, and that is related to Adam Kadmon. That's the world of Adam Kadmon, the primordial man. The dominant sphera is Keter, the crown, and the level of consciousness is divine will to create and the plan of action. The yud is the emanation, Atzilut, the world, Chachma, primary sphera, dominant sphera. The level of consciousness is solely of God, no self-awareness. And Vav is Yetzira, formation. The dominant sphere is all the midos, Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yisod, the right, the left, the middle, the right, the left, the middle, the upper right, left, middle, the lower right, left, middle, and midot, interesting. And the level of consciousness is general existence, species, archetypes. Hey, Asiya, Hey is related to the world of Asiya, which is action, and this is Malchus, that's the dominant sphere. The level of consciousness is particular existence, individual creatures. Now there's 13 types of loves. Ava equals Echad. Ava is love, and it equals 13 in numerical value, and Echad equals 13 as well. Now if you put them together, they equal 26, which is the same as the Yud and the Hey and the Vav and Hey, the Tetragrammaton, which is the name of God, which is the name of God we're talking about here. And these 5 worlds we just mentioned, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Yechaya, Yechida. Nefesh, the vitality, Ruach, the spirit, Neshama, the soul, Chaya, the life, and Yechida, the original one, not the original, I would say the unity. So the 13 types of love, now that we just mentioned, Ava equals 13. You have straight light, which is the inner crown. This is love of God to Israel. returning light, outer crown. This is the love of God to, is the love of Israel to God, I guess. I think I made a mistake. I wrote God to Israel again, but it's Israel to God, yeah. Then we have the chachma, the wisdom. This is love of teacher to student. Bina, which is understanding, so it's more like the feminine. The chachma was the masculine. Anyway, so bina, understanding, is the love of the student to the teacher. Das, knowledge, is unity of students, like love of students together, the peers. Chesed, loving kindness, is love of husband to wife. Gevura, might, is love of wife to husband. Tiferet, beauty, is love between friends and Israel. Victory, netzach, love of parents to children. Acknowledgement, hod, love of children to parents. Yesod, foundation, is love between siblings. This is like the pelvis. Then you have the straight light, inner kingdom, inner malchus. You have love of king to people, the master to the servant, and returning like the outer kingdom, which is love of people to the king, the servant to the master. In the tikkunei Zohar, it makes a direct correspondence between the 4 types of spiritual artistic gifts that God granted B'tzalel with the 4 letters of God's name. So we said there was 4 letters. We added the 5th world to connect with these layers by the tip. We're going to shortly go through a lot of 4 things in a minute, but that 5th thing was just the tip of the yud as the emanating world before it's one of the 4 worlds, right? So then we have the actually one of the worlds is the emanating world, but the tip is like connected to the thing that we would call the emanating. So anyway, tikkunei Zohar says there's 4 gifts that B'tzalel, the one who created who the artist of the temple, it says in Shemos, Exodus 31, verse 2-3. See, I've called by name B'tzalel, son of Uri, the son of Hor, son of the tribe of Yehuda, and I've imbued him with the Spirit of God, with wisdom, with insight, with knowledge, and with all manner of craftsmanship. Wisdom is Yud, is understanding is Hey, knowledge is Vav, and all manner of craftsmanship is Hey again. So before we go into the reason why this 4 is very important, Albert Einstein began the searching for a formula called the theory of everything, or the unified field theory, to unite all the universal forces. And Rav Yitzchak Ginsburg, and in this book, and according to all the scientific research anyone could find online, the 4 basic forces of the universe match the 4 letters of God's name. You have the strong nuclear force, which is Yod, and it binds the atomic nucleus and the subatomic particles. Then you have the weak nuclear force, the He, which is the mechanism of interaction responsible for radioactive decay, for example, nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. Then you have the Vav, electromagnetism, which is dominant force in the interactions of atoms and molecules. It occurs between particles with an electric charge via the electromagnetic fields. Then we have gravity, which is a Hey. This is observed as a mutual attraction between all things that have mass, and although it's the weakest of these 4 forces and doesn't influence the microcosmic, it determines the motion of their macroscopic. For example, planets, stars, galaxies, and even light. Rav Yitzchak Ginsburg adds that the number 4 is found also in many other organizational descriptions of our physical universe, including the 4 seasons, the 4 cardinal directions, the 4 elements, the 4 states of matter, which are solid, liquid, gas, and combustion, the 4 basic chemical elements of hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. Next, we have the tikkunei Zohar 25b, which says the ring is like the yud, and the vav is like the bride's finger, and the 2 Heys are like the 2 witnesses at the wedding ceremony, which make it legally binding. So you could even make God's name be a marriage between the people, like the ring is the yud, the vav is the finger, so the yud goes around, and then the Hey is the 2 witnesses. And then in berachot 6b, it says, words that emanate from the heart enter the heart. Moshe began reciting the book of Devarim on the first day of Shvat. Shvat is Aquarius, and according to tradition, he died on the 7th of Adar, which is Pisces. Therefore, he transmitted the entire book to the children of Israel in just 37 days. The words came straight from his heart, and the numerical value for the heart, Halev, is 37. Lev is 32, and Hey, which is the, is 5. And then I want to share 2 more things. One is from Debra Silverman. She says, the high road of the water signs. What is the high level of it? Because we talk about Pisces, and actually Moshe's from Pisces, and today there's a lot of rain, and I'm born in Pisces, and I just want to say, so we say, what some people think like, oh, watery, they're wishy, they're fishy, wishy-washy, they get addicted, or they get stuck because they get stuck in a net, or they're bipolar, being pulled in 2 directions, but actually, or you can't like pin them down, or they're not grounded, or they're too imaginative. Now, so what's the high road of the water signs? Stillness, self-care, letting go, accepting pain, and healthy boundaries. And we'll finish with a talk I had with somebody named Michael Marcus Payne. And we talked about a few different things in the Torah topics. First of all, we were talking about how the Jews from Hebrew, or from Yisrael, didn't worship any medium or intermediary, including food. All power was from God. And this our, this multiplicity that acknowledges that we have a singular source, is saying like our God, that we are many and we have one source. That's why we say there's more power to saying a congregation, saying together we have one source. Tzaddikim, or the righteous ones, radiate this clean, pure vibe, and it cleans their area. Like we just said, it actually can clean, tzaddikim can clean the area around them and emanate life and regeneration even. And there's nothing that needs to be excreted when there's no infection of waste, shit, the snake, like from Garden of Eden, eat in. Everything is balanced and there's nothing that needs to be removed because it's still in Eden. Versus what like this man told me, like Yousef, this Arab man, he said, it can come through anyone. So we could say now it can come through anyone, the cleansing power of deleting all waste and that there's nothing, no shit, no snake, no nothing that you wouldn't want. Then words have power. The sound, the environment reflects back the sound waves and can affect the people who come or stay there after the speaker leaves. The words remain there. I learned that in the Lubavitcher teachings and the by the chabad tradition, that when you're speaking words of Torah, truth, holy words, or positive words, you actually affect the area around you. It reverberates those words. And in Hebrew, we would say Lashon HaKodesh, the language, the holy tongue. It was given to Avraham as a gift, and people still can speak it. It's basically speaking with a holy tongue. It's having a holy tongue. And then also, like, to be kind to people as a leader, best to do my, like, if I want to be kind to people, if I'm a leader, then it's best to do my exercise or a walk first thing in the morning, because after that, or as early as possible, because after that I might be less gentle or more aggressive with people and not hurt, and be a little hurtful or harsh, God forbid. So it's good for me to get my exercise in. And also there can't be Jews who killed Jesus, because they only hung a Jew on the gallows who had been executed for cursing God or worshiping idols. Plus, it required witnesses and a warning, and they only did it till nightfall and not overnight. And if you think they're breaking the Torah law for something like hanging a dead body for 3 days, but not to eat what they want or fornicate with and do whatever they want, but that they'd still sacrifice for the Torah all those years later when they did something like that, like I think that they can do something like deliberately hang a person on a gallows overnight versus all these other things they would have rather enjoyed. They're saying they're following the Torah and then they would break it for something like that. I don't know. It doesn't go again. It's not matching the Torah, and the people are still trying to follow the Torah as best as they can. And one more thing, that there's 600,000 men, aged 20 to 60. Each man represents a family. It says that they all hallucinated together, or in other words, they all envisioned and heard and saw together with, they have a word for when you see colors and hear sound. It's called like something with the senses. Together that God spoke, together they had this group hallucination or this group experience that God spoke the 2 commandments, and they actually felt they died, they perished, and that God brought them back twice from both near-death experiences, and also that God parted the sea for them too. So when they could have taken the credit for themselves, that that they defeated Egypt, they actually recognized it was all God. So that would be, love, life, power, and righteousness. So that's all for now. And I think the place where I learned about that the words reverberate around was the frierdiker Rebbe, the 6th Lubavitcher Rebbe. I think he's the one that he wrote somewhere that the words, when you speak, it reverberates off of the land around you and affects the people who come there later, and it affects the area. All the best. Good night. Bye.